If you thought today was going to be a slow Sunday, think again, because one of the top remaining free agents, DeAndre Hopkins, will be signing with the Tennessee Titans. Just a little bit ago, Doug Kaid ended up tweeting out that it appeared that a deal between the Titans and DeAndre Hopkins was going to be done soon. And then Ian Rappaport followed that up with the exact terms of the agreement. Hopkins is going to be headed to the Tennessee Titans on a 2-year deal. It is going to be worth $26 million, worth up to $32 million with incentives. And he's going to be getting that $12 million base in year one with a chance to hit $15 million with the incentives as well. But from a fantasy perspective, what does this mean, and should you be targeting DeAndre Hopkins? Well, the big question is going to be, is DeAndre Hopkins going to be the guy that brings this Tennessee Titans offense back to what we saw a couple of years ago, or is he going to be what Julio Jones was? He shows up, gets people excited, and does absolutely nothing. And my opinion is, it's going to be right in between that. It's clear DeAndre Hopkins isn't the DeAndre Hopkins of old. He's still got some juice left in the tank. But if he was even close to being the player he once was, teams would have been lining up to sign him this offseason. And it's not like he's landing with the best offense either. The Tennessee Titans are not the example of pass-heavy offenses, right? But even with that being said, I think DeAndre Hopkins is a guy that could still be somewhere in the low-end wide receiver 2 range. He's not going to put up the big-time numbers that we saw A.J. Brown doing with Tennessee a couple of years ago, but I definitely think he's going to bring you more stability than what you saw last season from that team. Now, DeAndre Hopkins signing may lead you to be off some of the other guys in this offense. Let's talk about Derrick Henry first. This is only good news for Derrick Henry. Add another weapon on the outside, and now you put the defense in a position where they have to pay attention to Treylon Burks and DeAndre Hopkins, and if Chiggy Oko is the guy we think he can be, that only helps. If they continue to run the ball and run the ball a lot, Derrick Henry is absolutely locked in stone as one of the top fantasy running backs once again for 2023. But what about the other wide receivers? Because Treylon Burks has been a popular potential breakout candidate for people this year. And honestly, I think this helps Treylon Burks. For as crazy it may sound, it might take away some of the potential volume you were excited for, but he's not going to have to face cornerback 1 coverage, and he's not going to have to face double teams now. So even if you account for some of the lost targets going over to DeAndre Hopkins, it's okay because hopefully it helps his big play potential. Remember, it's been just a couple of years since Ryan Tannehill and A.J. Brown were one of the most efficient down the field duos in all of football. And A.J. Brown wasn't getting a ton of volume at that time, but he was making people pay down the field. And if Treylon Burks can fit some of that same type of game plan, then he absolutely becomes a guy that could also work his way into that wide receiver 3, low-end wide receiver 2 conversation. Obviously, this hurts Chiggy Oko as well in terms of the volume department, but as far as tight ends go, who's really guaranteed volume? Once again, the same thing for Treylon Burks. This is going to put Chiggy Oko in a position where he's going to have the middle of the field open and to himself. Linebackers are going to come in on Derrick Henry. Cornerbacks are going to stay on the outside with Burks and Hopkins. Safeties are going to have to be able to offer a little bit of help over the top, and Chiggy Oko can just work in the middle of the field. So again, even if he loses some volume, the potential efficiency and upside could still be enough to offset that. All right, so where do I have these guys ranked? For me, DeAndre Hopkins is definitely going to be a guy, low-end wide receiver 2 area. Treylon Burks probably going to be high-end wide receiver 3, while Chiggy Oko is going to be in the back half of that tight end 1 range. Derrick Henry, really not going to change a whole lot for me. Probably bump him up maybe a spot or 2, but right around RB3, RB4, depending on what you're wanting from your running back this year. And Ryan Tannehill, he's a guy I would invest in for Superflex leagues as your quarterback 2 or your quarterback 3 stash on the bench. I'm not going to throw him into any type of quarterback 1 conversation, but again, if DeAndre Hopkins just has a little bit of juice left, he's going to do wonders for Ryan Tannehill, and this is a guy that absolutely is locked in to the top 13 to 24 quarterbacks pretty easy in my opinion. But Headliner Nation, you got to let me know in the comments down below what you think about this. We're going to be working hard to get the draft guide guide updated. And when that is done, for those of you that own it right now, you're going to get all of those updates pushed out to you. And if you haven't bought your draft guide yet, what are you doing? There's a link down in the description below, thefantasyheadliners.com. Order it right now and get instant access to it. Headliner Nation, peace out, stay safe, and stay healthy, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of the Fantasy Headliners.